So let's take a look at how to make our quizzes. So here I'm going to go up to my apps. I'll come down here. I'm going to look for Google Forms. I'll click on More, and there's the forms. I'll click on that. Now from here, you'll see I already have several forms I've already made. I'm going to show you how to make one that's going to go along with our Nearpod that's with part of our training series here. So I can choose to have an exit ticket, an assessment, a worksheet, a blank quiz. It has a lot of little things that kind of start us off here. You can definitely jump into any one of those. They just have already preset questions and you just go in and edit it. I'm going to show from a blank. So click on blank. All right. So this one here at the very top, I usually put whatever teaks I'm going to be working on. That's just a little bit easier, or the topic. All right. Here I'll put a new title. So we'll go math quiz. All right. Now you can always put a form description. You can say what it is about. Again, you can put more of your teaks. You can actually write out the whole teak there, but it's completely up to you. So I'll come here where it says untitled question. The first thing I like to have the kids do is first and last name. Okay. I just put both names just because I'm departmentalized, so I have multiple kids with the same name, so it's really good to have the last name, and I capitalize both of them to kind of let them know, hey, you need to capitalize it. From here, you can also choose and click that down there. I can choose what style of response. For a first name, they just need something like a short answer. I'll come down here to put required. This will not let them move forward until they've answered this component. All right. You'll notice here on the side, there's a plus sign. That's we can add a new question, add a title, add an image, add a video, and add a section. You'll notice right here is to delete and to duplicate this section that you're currently working on. All right. So I'm going to add a new one here. Let's add a new question. And this one, if you're departmentalized, this one's really helpful. So I just put here select your homeroom teacher. And I can have it multiple choice, or I can do a drop down. Okay, so let's just do multiple choice for right now. Teacher 1, teacher 2. Okay, and I'll make this also required. Now this will be the first section that they see. You can make it where they see everything all at once. I like to break it up into sections. So this is the first section, this is your info. Then I can click here where it says add section. And I can still put the same thing. I can just write good luck, whatever I want to write. And then from here, I'm going to add my questions. Now, I can type in the question. And then from here, select my options and put, whatever answer choices there are, okay? Or I could also do this. I can click on the little picture icon right next to it. And if you had already seen our Nearpod, first part of our Nearpod, we've already selected some of the questions here. So we've doubled up on some. So I'm going to put number 11, which is our really number 1. So now when they see the question, they'll see this image, right? And all we have to do is select A 3,752, B 2,680, C 1,876, D 3,000 612. So this is very much, when they see it on their end, it looks very much like well, essentially what it is, it's an online quiz. So they would be able to do all of their writing in their journals. The only problem is they can't write on the question itself for any kind of annotations, which is is a bit of a drawback. But you're taking away that component for fast data analysis and grading. So from here on through, I'm going to mark required, okay? And I'm going to continue with the rest of the questions here. Okay, I'll do one more. Let's add here. Again, I can type it in, or if I've already snipped the question, I can put it right here. For the other questions or any questions, I could always add a new section in case I want them to write down any pieces. I have found something kind of interesting. You may not want to have any of having them write in the answers because if it's not written exactly the way you write it in the answer key section, exactly, I mean spaces and all, it'll mark it wrong, which kind of throws in kind of a bit of a loop for you because then you'll have to go back and readjust for all the grades. But this is a great option for students if you just want to have them doing the multiple choice questions. All right, so now we've built it. Again, you can make it more questions, however many you want. And from now, you want to make it into a quiz because right now they can go ahead and put whatever answers, awesome, but it won't actually grade it for them. So I'm going to click here where it says settings. I'm going to take off this one right here, restrict to San Antonio Independent School District users. We're getting rid of that one because that means everyone has to sign in, and not every student knows their login info for their email addresses. So I'm going to click that one there. I'm going to come all the way to quizzes, and right here where it says make this a quiz, boom, it's now a quiz. All right, you can tell them release the grade immediately so the kid will know exactly as soon as they hit submit what their grade is. You can also give it to them later, so that means you can tell them what the grade is actually. It'll show them, I have it clicked here where it's going to show them, hey, you missed number 1 or number 2. I can leave this here where it shows them the correct answers, so that way they can see what's the correct answer and go back and try to reverse engineer it. I tend to do this. I take it off. The reason for that is because kids are either doing this with partners or they're doing it at different times. And what ends up happening is that some of our kids will tell, hey, yeah, go ahead and submit it. Oh, you got those wrong? Which one did you get wrong? Oh, okay, I'll make sure to put that on mine. So in a way, they kind of let their buddy take the fall with the grade in order for themselves to get the correct answers and get a higher grade. So I usually leave this off. It'll just tell them which question they got incorrect, and they can go back and try to see as to why. And also the point values. They can see how many points each question is. I click right here, save. And now it's a quiz. The only problem is you notice up here, there's no point value. Okay, so I'm going to come down here to my questions. All right. And actually, let me zoom out of this so we can see it a little bit better. There we go. All right. So from here, I'm going to click on my question. Now, oh, that was something else I didn't show that. You can actually adjust the size of the picture. So if you want it to be a little bit bigger or smaller. So you'll notice down here, once I've clicked on it, I'm editing this question. And down here, it'll say answer key, 0 points. So I'll click on the answer key, and I'm going to be able to choose whatever point it is. So again, I can make some questions worth more points. So if maybe I have vocabulary questions, maybe I have some review questions, or I want them all to be exactly the same, I can adjust that point system. If you have an odd number, so let's say you have a test of 9 questions, or 3, one of those that it doesn't divide into 100 perfectly, then you may want to adjust it. So with me, I just bump it up so my kids can get like 102 as an average. So I kind of adjust it whichever way I want to. It's your decision. So let's just say this one is 50 points, And I haven't done the math. I'm just going to say it's A. Come down to the next one, and I can click on edit question. It goes back to what it was before. So now it says answer key, 50 points. So now I come to number 2, click on answer key. I'm going to come up here, say 50 points. But now you'll notice my total point structure up here at the top shows me that if they answer everything, they get 100 points. And then again, I get to choose. I don't know. I haven't done the math. I'll just choose A. And then that's it. All right. And it's done. If you notice there'll be a sign up at the top, it says all changes saved in Drive. So it's saving as you're going. So there's nowhere where we have to go file, save as. The only thing we had to save right now was just our settings. Okay. So now you probably want to know, hey, this looks a little drab. How can I go ahead and clean it up? All right. Well, I can click the color palette. I can choose different colors. Maybe I'm feeling blue that day. Or I can choose this image. Okay. It has a bunch of images, that these little banners and these kind of themes that you can choose. You can also upload your own. But they have different ones just based on different sections here. Just kind of careful with some of them. Some of them, they're talking about partying and stuff like that. So you might want to be careful. But let's just say this one. So we'll grab the pencils and we'll select. And there it goes. So now it not only puts the banner on top, but it now changes the color palette completely. So now I've picked something. It looks really great. I want to share it with people. All right, so we're going to go here where it says send. Okay. Now, I'm not going to collect email addresses, because if I do that, then that means everyone has to sign in. They're going to ask you, Mr., Miss, whoever, there's a problem. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click, we're not going to send it via email. We're going to click on the link. Okay. Now, there's a giant link right here. Okay. I can copy that whole thing, or I can shorten it. Okay. So I'm going to copy it. Okay. And we're going to exit out of here. And so what ends up happening, if I open up a new window and I paste it here and I paste it in Go, this is what the kid would see. Okay. So they were able to type their name, select their homeroom teacher, and click next. And then from here, they can make their decisions. So let's say, oh, I got number 1, and I got that one. I hit submit. Now I can view my score. Click view score. And there's my score. All right. Now, could I always go back and redo this test? Of course. But on your side as a teacher, you're going to see how many times someone took their test or their exit ticket or whatever you want to call it, and you'll be able to see their scores and at what time they took it. So we have some students that try to be real slick about it. And, oh, I've got 100. Okay, but it shows here on my report that you worked on it 9 times. So it's up to you on how you want to do that. You can always leave it up where they can go back and redo it, and you'll say, hey, I'll take the second one. But you'll see as I come down, first one, boom, check mark. I've got 50 out of 50 points. This one down here, it doesn't tell me which one is the correct answer, but it does tell me, hey, letter G is an incorrect answer. Maybe I have to go back and double check it. It's completely up to you on how you want to go ahead and use that. Now, let's get out of this. Now let's come back to the teacher side. Now you'll notice up here at the top, we're in questions right now, but now all of a sudden we have a number here next to responses because we've had one person take the test. I can click on it and it shows me just right away, if I had more students take it, I can see the distribution of points. So I can see do we have a lot of people taking hundreds? Do we have a lot of people down here in the bottom? And not only that, I can hover over it. It'll tell me what the score is and how many kids got that score. All right. Class average, the median, and the range. I can scroll down. It'll give me all the responses, all the homeroom teachers, so I can kind of see who's taking it. And I can come down here. Now, If we had more students, you would see the other responses, other gray bars here, as to what was correctly answered and what was incorrectly answered. So right away, you're getting an item analysis. You can see which one is a distractor. You'll notice here the correct answer was F, but we selected G. So G is showing that 100% because it's only me, but I'm grayed out here because this is an incorrect answer. All right, so right away you can see what's happening with your class, of what questions are actually tripping them up. And not only that, I can look at the questions, okay? And I can see what they were selecting, right? I can also go to, well, that's it, individual. We're just on that. See what the kid did individually. But for you, for grades, you'll click on this button right here, create spreadsheet. Click, create a new spreadsheet, create. And here we are. So now we have the timestamp. When did they take it? We also have their score. So here's your grade. Who's the kid? What teacher what homeroom they're in. If they're your class and if you're self-contained, then you don't have to worry about it. And also their responses. So right away, you can see how this is. You can easily start inputting this into your own grade book or your Texas grade book. If you have more than one class period, so they have different teachers as a homeroom teacher, I usually click here and I'll just sort them either by alphabetical order. So they'll group all of this teacher's name together, all this group teacher's name together. The only problem is then I start having kids that are out of order on this end, but hey, they're still really well clustered. If you're self-contained, okay, so you don't need to have a homeroom teacher, you can just go to their name and you can sort it out that way, okay? You can always go on back on your quiz here. You can always put here like a section. A question is, what's your first name? What's your last name? You can have it 2 different questions instead of all together. And so that way you'll have one here that says first name, last name, and on the last name one, you can just order it. So I'm just clicking on it, right clicking, and I can just put it in whatever order. So now I have it in alphabetical order, which follows my grade book, okay? And like I said, you can see how many times the student took it and their score. All right, and then this spreadsheet is actually already saved. If I were to go back to my drive, okay, and they'll be saved. See, like here we are, Teaks responses. So here's my stuff, here's my quiz that we just made, and here is the responses. All right.